So we are going to be perming our mannequin today. So we have pre-wrapped our mannequin straight down the middle, double blocking, and to the back of the base for each one because you want to have a nice loose curl. I have put a towel around the mannequin's neck and I now have the drip tray on there. I'm going to go in with some conditioner. I want to add a barrier around the hairline to protect her skin. So I'm going to work right behind the ear and down in the nape on both sides. This is going to protect her skin from burns, and it's also going to act as a barrier so the lotion doesn't come running down her ears or into her eyes. We're going to take a piece of cotton. So I'm going to take my cotton, I'm going to fold it over, I'm going to grab the middle, I'm going to work it up in the hairline, I'm going to tuck it in around the ears, and then get ready for perming. I'm going to open up my perm box. Inside is all the directions. I know that I have a neutralizer that I'm going to save for later. I have a perm lotion and I have an activator in this perm lotion. So I've got my activator I'm going to be mixing in with my perm lotion, and I also have a bag. When you want your directions before you proceed, you're going to open up your box and you're going to read the directions before you get started. I'm going to take my perm lotion and I'm going to take my activator. I'm going to mix them together, cut off the top. So once I have the two together, I'm going to mix them back and forth, cut up the tip. I'm going to make sure I'm protecting her eyes, and I'm going to go back and forth over every perm rod. These are big. I can turn it over, get the underside. So I'm going to go on the front, on the back, on the front, on the back. I'm going to work my way down on every perm rod, making sure I get it completely saturated. So the top side, lift up to the underneath. And I want to have the drip tray there to catch any drips, making sure my client is comfortable, making sure it's not going in her eyes. So top, bottom, top, underneath. Not worried about this hair, it's what's on the rod. Okay, and then lift up, making sure you get each one. I'm going to go back and do everything again just to make sure we're completely saturated. Depending on the porosity of the hair and how much hair you have, that's going to tell you how much lotion is going to be needed. You should have lotion running into the drip tray. If you do not have lotion running into the drip tray and you've run out and the hair doesn't look completely saturated, you're going to need to open up another perm. So on longer hair, thicker hair, depending on what you're doing, you want to make sure that you have enough lotion to get the perm to work. If I was out of lotion and it is in the drip tray, I can go squeeze my bottle, remove the air, turn it upside down, and I can suck up any drips that are in the tray, and I can go back and I can apply over each perm rod again, making sure we're completely saturated. I'm going to take the drip tray, just let it sit there for a minute. I'm going to take some cotton. I never want to leave her eyes unprotected, so I really want to grab this. I'm going to drop it right away. I'm going to put the new one in. So I didn't even take it away. I just kind of dropped it over to the side, tuck it around the ears. Now I'm going to remove on this side. I'm going to tuck it up and around the ears on this side. Now that she's had a chance to sit and drip, I'm going to take this away. I'm going to put that into the sink. I'm going to take my plastic bag. I'm going to bring the bag up. I do not want it to go over her eyes. I don't want the fumes in her eyes. I don't want it to come forward. I want to make sure I'm taking the bag on the underneath side, getting all the perm rods, working my way to the front hairline here, up to the front, twist and secure, always making sure the bag is not in her eyes, and also making sure all my perm rods are in the back. You can take a clip and you can put a clip in there, or you can tuck and just let it sit underneath like that. So either or, this is going to hold the body heat in. Of course, she doesn't have any, but on a client, this would hold your body heat in. We're going to set a timer for 5 minutes, and then we're going to do a test curl. Okay, we have 5 minutes. We're going to be doing a test curl. So I want to open it up and make sure it doesn't fall into her eyes. I want to open away from her. I'm just going to let the bag sit there. I'm going to go in and do a test curl. So I'm just going to open this up. I am looking for it to separate, and I'm looking for an S pattern. So I'm pushing it. See how it turns over and buckles and it separates? This one is ready. I'm going to try one more. And again, told you these mannequins, they don't take long to perm. We're going to turn it around. Always want to try another one here. I'm going to open it up. I'm looking, does it separate and turn over? So see when I get a gap and it starts to turn over, this means it's ready. So I'm now going to take her to the sink. I'm going to rinse. I'm going to have her sit in the chair, cape in between the chair and the sink. I would take my closed end of the bag and I'm going to tuck this in the towel that she has around her neck. And this is going to be a little added splash guard for when she's in the sink. So the plastic bag is into the sink. The cape is going in between the sink and the chair. Now I'm going to tilt her back. I'm going to rinse at low pressure for 5 minutes, as warm as she can take it. Again, get her to tilt back a little bit. Turn the pressure down. And just start rinsing. So you're rinsing for 5 minutes, low pressure. You want to rinse until that water comes clear. There should be no more bubbles left. You want to make sure you're getting underneath at the nape area on both sides and the back. And when your 5 minutes is up, you're going to turn off your tap. You're going to take another towel. You're going to place it over the client like this, and you're going to get her to sit up. You always want to protect her eyes. You want to make sure you're putting your hand here first because she has no cotton. Making sure you're stopping any water from dripping forward. And now I'm going to go through and I'm going to towel blot really gently. And keep going until I remove all the moisture. So I want to be able to find each perm rod and see that moisture coming through on the towel. Again, trying to remove excess moisture so that we can get ready for the perming. So you're going to do that 2 or 3 times with a couple of towels, removing that moisture. So when you're sitting for 5 minutes, after you finish rinsing, right away you want to put new cotton in around her ears, like this, and there, so that it, again, protects her eyes while she's sitting. You're going to take your towels off. You're just going to let her sit. If she has wet towels on her shoulder, you need to change the cape, the towels, to always keep the client dry. I can take this bag away for now and change her towels. And then I'm going to let her sit for 5 minutes and I'm going to come back and apply the neutralizer. Okay, we're going to now put the drip tray on her neck. She's got a towel to protect her. She's got new cotton. We're going to take our neutralizer. We're going to snip the top off. And we're going to apply, again, back and forth on every rod, making sure we're completely saturated. That 5 minutes that she air neutralized just allowed the moisture to come out of the hair a little bit more, making the neutralizer enter into the cortex a little bit better. So just removing that excess moisture makes the neutralizer work that much better. We want to go through and back and forth every perm rod twice. So again, I'm going to start up here, lift up and down. Trying to get every single rod completely saturated. I want to save maybe about 1/3 to 1/4 of the neutralizer in the bottle. And I'm going to work that through the hair once the 5 minutes is done. So now she just sits for 5 minutes. 5 minutes, we're going to come back. We're going to take out the rods, work the remainder a little bit through, and rinse again for 5 minutes. So right now, sitting for 5 minutes. So now, when you've finished rinsing, she's all sort of tangled up here. You would either put in a spray-in detangler, a leave-in conditioner, or I'm going to use some Super Skinny, a little bit of oil. You do not want to use a heavy conditioner or anything. You just want to work that through the hair. And then we're going to gently pick it. And we would let it air dry, or we would use a diffuser to dry it in place. So I'm going to take my wide tooth comb. Again, I don't want to start at the top. I want to start at the nape area. And I want to detangle the hair gently. So I'm going to turn her around this way, start at the nape, working my sides. Okay, working up my layers, otherwise I'm going to have a tangled mess. So starting at the bottom and working my way up. And again, this was 5 minutes to get this much curl. That's why I don't want to leave it longer than that for perming the mannequins. And it should be nicely detangled. And then when you have your little bit of super skinny in there, if you wanted to set it, you could also put a little bit of mousse in there. Gonna lift it up. And again, you want to just be able to go in and scrunch that curl up. If I had a little bit of mousse on my hands, scrunch my mousse or my little bit of gel just to set it. It's like setting the hair without rollers. And you want to show the client how to style it properly. So really important to show the client how to detangle their hair. Do not use a brush. You want to go in and you want to put some shine or some gel or mousse, a little bit to hold the cuticle down so it adds the shine and it doesn't look frizzy. And then once they have scrunched it in place, they are best to just let it dry on its own. Once it's dry, then they're going to pick it out. But do not keep running your hands through it, otherwise it gets bigger and it gets frizzier. Okay, so all I want you to do is scrunch her out and let her dry naturally, and then take a picture of her wet and a picture of her dry.